Good morning. It's Liz Campbell at Yoga Gym, and we're going to do a hands and knees practice this morning. So if your knees are tender, please get a beach towel, a blanket, even a soft pillow, something to cushion your knees if it's difficult for you to be on your hands and knees. We will be doing some things to take a break. And just know that if it's hard on your knees, that as the muscles in the legs get stronger to support the joints, that being on your hands and knees will be less uncomfortable. It won't hurt after a while. But if it gets to where it hurts, or if you simply can't be on your hands and knees at all, then my suggestion is go to one of the supine practices on YouTube and do that instead, because the supine practices are really hands and knees practices flipped upside down on your back, and so they're pretty effective. And I'm gonna try real hard not to use any props, which is difficult for me because I just think yoga props are really helpful in us getting into the proper alignment as we're working into the poses, but we'll just see how it goes without them. So go ahead and sit up nice and tall, come into your breath. I breathe in, I breathe out. And then bring your hands to Anjali Mudra. And as you inhale, sweep the arms down and up. And exhale back to the heart. This is a ritual every lesson. Inhale. And exhale. And one more time, inhale. And exhale, and then sit nice and tall here and just drop into your breath. You can feel the breath as it enters and exits through the nose. And let the mind follow the breath as it curls in the back of your throat and travels down into the chest. The chest expands, the belly expands. And exhale, belly and chest as the air comes out. Keep going. And then float your hands down to the side. Keep the spine long, and as you inhale, just float the left arm up and float it back down. And then the right arm. And as you're doing this, as the arm comes up, rotate the palm so it's facing up towards the ceiling. And then when it comes back down, it can face the floor. And as the left arm comes up, rotate the palm towards the ceiling. And then back to that T position, rotate and down. Inhaling up. And exhaling down. And the reason you want to rotate the arm in the shoulder socket is so that the arm bone, called the humerus, doesn't impinge on a bone from the collarbone and or scapula. So you want to pay attention to how it feels to move your arm in this way, and also the breath. We know that this slow, deep, meditative breath helps stimulate the vagus nerve. When the vagus nerve is stimulated, it slows the heart rate down. The body cues off of this. It knows it's not in danger, and you come out of your sympathetic, fight or flight, and you drop into your parasympathetic, rest and digest. And those are two branches of the autonomic nervous system. One more time, each side. We know that it's healthy to access the parasympathetic, the rest and digest. We know spending a lot of time in fight or flight, your body is creating epinephrine or adrenaline, and your body is creating corticosteroids. And both of those things are great short term, but if it's a long, expanded kind of a process, then they can be pretty harmful in all kinds of ways. So just as you go through your yoga practice, just see if you get that, if you get any sort of a sensation of relaxation, you really want to pay attention and notice that. And we even take periodic breaks to just stop and breathe during the practice, because you want to create that feedback loop. You create that chemical cascade of rest and digest, and then you want to sit and enjoy and notice it, because then you're creating a feedback loop so the body can find it when you need it. That's why you practice every day. We're training up the nervous system. Okay, so now go ahead and come onto your hands and knees. If this hurts your knees, get a blanket or a towel or something to pad up your knees. And you want something that's going to cushion, but you don't want something that's unstable, that's going to shift around. So it's sort of a balance of finding what you like. And then you just want to kneel on that blanket, and we're going to come to tabletop. Now in tabletop, you want your wrists right underneath your shoulders, your knees are hip distance apart, and your spine is long. So I always imagine there are two children having a tea party on my back, and I don't want to be like this, and I don't want to be like this. I want to be like straight and strong, so those kids can have a tea party and not spill their imaginary tea. Now, from here we're going to go through cat-cow. So as you inhale, draw your navel up towards the spine and let your tailbone come forward and under, round one vertebra at a time. Bring your chin onto your chest. And then lift the tailbone, sink the belly down towards the mat. Open the heart center, coming into your sway back cow. As you inhale, draw the navel in, strong abdominal muscles, strong but fluid, and chin to chest, and then lift the tailbone, sink the belly. So in this cat-cow flow, we are really just trying to wire up the major neuromotor network. So the spine is like a switchboard with a lot of different big nerves coming off of them that innervate different areas of the body. And this flow just helps them wire up and work together. So it's not about any sort of a big stretch or a deep pose. It's about smooth, fluid, one vertebra at a time. Go one more time, cat. And then come to a neutral position. And from here, you're going to move in some holographic way. This is three-dimensional asymmetric movement. This comes from Emily Conrad's work on continuous motion. So you can Google Emily Conrad and find out about her. And this was introduced to me by my teacher, Chitra Jiak. So this is the best way to get into the connective tissue. And then bring that to a close. Take a few breaths here. Now, walk your hands forward. So I think I'm a little high up on my mat. Walk your hands forward just a few inches and keep the fingers spread. And you want to make sure that this the first knuckles on your hand right here where the fingers meet the hand, you want to be pressing into those knuckles the same way you press into the four corners of your feet. And I'm going to start with my hips are right over my knees and my arms are in front, and I'm just going to rock forward, bringing the shoulders over the wrists, and I'm going to rock back. So I'm keeping my shoulder blades pressed forward as I do this, and I'm just trying to rotate the arm bone, the humerus bone, in the shoulder socket without bringing any of these muscles into it. You don't want to lift your shoulders up. You want to keep the shoulders down and back. And go one more time forward. This time come back. Go ahead and bend your elbows. As you bend your elbows, tip your pelvis towards the thighs. Let the sits bones roll up. So this is called puppy pose. Take a few breaths here. Now, bring your sits bones back onto your heels. Keep your hands where they are. Lengthen through the upper back. Release your head forward. And then hinge back up. Bring the shoulders over the wrists. Hinge back, hips over knees. Elbows bend, you come into puppy pose, like a puppy playing on the floor with you. And then sitting back here, there's a little round in the low back, and even in the upper back, it kind of rounds here. But keep your hands, you want to get this upper back to stretch out, inhaling forward. So if you're tight in between your shoulder blades, keep going here. If you're tight in between your shoulder blades, do not walk your hands back. Simply go as far as you can go. Take your time, and then just come right back up to this. This is a modified plank to puppy pose. Keep your elbows there. Bring your hips as close to your heels as you can without moving your elbows, and then hinging back forward. So it is okay if your range of motion is small. Go one more time, and then the next time you come into your child's pose here, called Balasana, just stay here. Now let your head come to the floor and draw your hands back. If your head won't come to the floor, you can cross your hands right here and just put your hands under your head to give you a little support. So the allergies are sort of bad. You can roll those sinuses. You've got a set of sinuses over your eyebrows right here. And you can roll that back and forth on your hands to kind of massage and soothe. And then just stay here and breathe. And then go ahead and make your way up. Come back to that tabletop. And now we're going to do a pose. It's called Chakravakasana, which means ruddy goose. And we're going to go opposing arms and legs. It's a bit of a balanced pose. So bring your left arm out and your right leg up and reach here. You want to make a straight line from the tip of the left finger to the heel of the right foot, and then bring them back, and then straighten the right leg, left arm, and reach, and bring them back. So if you inhale, draw the navel towards the spine here. Exhale, release. Inhale, drawing the navel towards the spine here. Exhale, release. Keep going, opposing arms and legs. If you're having trouble balance, check that first, because it's a lot harder if you're doing this the same arm and leg. It's much easier if you get this cross body balance. And this is really good for your brain. keep going. If you want to add the breath, it's inhale as the arms and legs come up. Exhale back. Inhale, arm and leg up. And exhale back. Go one more time. Each side. And then bring that to a close. And we're going to do a wide-legged child's pose. So bring your knees out towards the edge of your mat. And your big toes are together. So you're kind of forming a V with your lower legs. And then bring your sits bones back. Lengthen. Bring your torso down. And just stay here. Bring your hands back under your shoulders. Exhale as you sit up. And we're going to do some downward facing dogs now. And when you do your downward dogs, getting your heels flat on the mat is not important. What's important is the down dog tilt to the pelvis. You want to make that V without rounding the back. So I'm going to show you the difference between a rounded back and a hip hinge. So just watch for just a minute. And I'm just going to tuck my shirt tail in just so it doesn't fly up and distract us all. So your hands are forward of the shoulders a little bit, and get your knees a little bit wider than hip distance apart so you have some space. Get your shoulders down and back. You're going to press up and hinge back. So this is a hip hinge. This is when my back is rolled but my heels are almost to the floor, but that's really not the pose. This is the pose. You don't want the upper back to round. You don't want the lower back to round. And then go ahead, I'm going to come back down to tabletop. And we're going to go tabletop, then come up into your downward dog. So straighten the knees, press the hips over the ankles, reach overhead, get your shoulders down and back, and the ears are in line with your upper arms, so don't let the head hang forward or lift up, either one. The neck is an extension of the spine. And then bend the knees, roll through the balls of the feet, bend the knees. And then flatten the feet, come into child's pose, breathe here. Inhale, hinge forward. Tuck the toes under, lift up, hinge back. You want to bring the hips way over the ankles, reaching overhead, and you're pressing into where the finger meets the palm of the hand, that first knuckle. Roll through the balls of the feet, shoulders come back over the wrists, coming to tabletop and to child's pose. So let's just do this 3 more times. Inhale, table. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, table. Exhale, child's. Inhale, table. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, table. Exhale, child's pose. Once more, table. Down dog, table, child's pose, breathing here. You can bring your hands under your forehead if you want. And while we're here, just shift your weight from left to right, just to get a little bit of lateral motion into your knees and hips here. And then bring that to a close, draw your hands under your shoulders, exhale, pressing back up. And then go ahead and come back to tabletop And bring your left foot forward and walk your foot so the ankle is in front of the knee here. I'm just gonna scoot my mat a little closer so I hope that you can see me a little bit better, yeah. So bringing the left foot forward, walk it forward, hands on the mat. Now, when you're here, try not to let this round like this. Try to keep your back flat. And I like to tuck the right toe under. That just feels better on my knee. And if you need a blanket under your knee, please get that. And then bend that left knee, bringing the knee over the ankle and lengthen the spine, and then hinging back. So I try not to walk my hands back and forth. It's okay if you want to walk your hands back and forth like this. But I like to set a foundation and stretch the body over that foundation. So just notice how that feels. As you come forward, you want to feel a stretch on the front of the right hip. And as you come back, a stretch on the back of the left leg. Now, the next time you come forward, stay here, look straight ahead, lift the arms up, breathing here. Bring the hands down, hinge back, hinge forward, and again, lift up, release down, back, and forward, and inhale. Bring the arms down, bring the hips back, bring that left leg back. And switch up sides. So walking your ankle in front of the knee here. Try to keep the heart center open. If you want to tuck the left toes under, you can. If you want to leave the foot flat on the mat, you can do that too. I just suggest you kind of push the top of the foot into the mat. That'll make the knee feel better. So bending the right knee, hinging forward and back. So as I'm doing this, I'll just share that I notice my body is shifting because today's the 2nd of April and we haven't had classes at Yoga Gym for over 2 weeks. And I'm not as loyal to my practice. I certainly don't practice as much when I'm not teaching. And so if you feel that in your body too, you're not practicing as much because you're not coming to the studio, it's okay, right? Anything you do will help. The next time you hinge forward, stay here, engage the root, lock the pit of the belly, sweeping up. Bringing the arms down, hinge back. Hinge forward, inhale up. Exhale down, hinge back. And forward, and one more time. Bringing the hips back, bringing this right leg back. And let's just take another down dog just to stretch out a little bit. So tucking the toes under, lifting up, hinging back. You want to press the thighs towards the wall behind you. Breathing here. And then go ahead and bend the knees. Now, if you have something to put your knees on, go ahead and get that and face the long end of your mat. So you may need to turn your mat. Let's see if you can see me here. I'm gonna come back on my mat back. Let's see, do we like that better? Just bring your left foot out and flex the foot. So I'm sorry you can't see my head, but you know what it looks like. So this is swinging gate pose. So go ahead and take your right arm. So my left leg is flexed. Let me move up this way. See if you Yeah. So see how this foot is flexed? The reason I like this foot flex, so sometimes people teach it like this, but then my knee is not really supported. So I like to flex this foot like this. That engages the quadriceps so the knee is supported. And then go ahead and bring the right arm up and over and come back to center, arms in a T, and then come over to the right side, arms up and over and back to a T. As you come off your vertical axis, draw the navel in and then a little release. Inhale, draw the navel in, creating that airbag effect to support the spine. Exhale here. Inhale and exhale and inhale and exhale. Go ahead and bring your arms down. Bring your left knee in and we'll sit up for the other side. So hopefully by the time this social isolation thing is over, I will have figured out how to get a shot with my head and my legs both in it. But I think the legs are more important. So flexing the right foot, reaching through the heel, bringing your arms out to a T. Go ahead and bring your left arm up and over. You're hinging at the hips and then back through center, much as you would in Trikonasana. And you only want to go as far over as you have core strength to support you. So a lot of people think yoga is all about stretching, but it's actually about balancing in your body strength with stretch. And a lot of competitive sports, it's all about strength. And as you age, that can actually kind of come back to haunt you a little bit. And so older people really benefit from a gentle yoga practice, not where you're trying to put your foot behind your head, but where you're just simply trying to sit on the floor cross-legged. Okay, so then come back and then bring this leg in. And then to kind of release those hips a little bit, come back to tabletop and just do a few cat-cows. Do a little holographic. And then bring that to a close and come onto your back. And I just want to do a few little things on our back before we go into Shavasana. So the first thing I want to do is stretch out the feet. So bring your foot in and flex it up towards the ceiling. So I'm going to bring my foot here so you can see what my leg is doing, but you can have yours up here if you like. And just go ahead and point and flex those toes. Pointing and flexing. It's really important to have flexibility in your foot. And then make ankle circles go in one direction. And then reverse, going back the other way. And then bend the knee into the chest and lower that right foot onto the mat. Take a few breaths here. And then bringing the left leg up, pointing and flexing the toes. And then make big ankle circles going in one direction. And reverse, making big ankle circles going the other direction. And then go ahead and bend the knee into the chest and lower the foot onto the mat. And just gently rock the knees back and forth just a little bit, like from 1 to 11 on the face of a clock. If I had the arc of a clock here, I'm just going from 11 to 1, just barely rocking. And my low back is coming up off the mat just a little bit. What you don't want to do is something like this, where you're just sort of letting the legs pull on your back. See how that just pulls on the back? You want to control that. So if you want to do that, it would be windshield wipers. So you would walk your feet away from each other, and then lower the left knee towards the right instep, and then lower the right knee towards the right. So there's that pull in the back, but see how controlled that is? And I can feel the stretch. My body has time to accommodate what I'm asking it to do. And then lift the left knee. When the right knee has to come, let the right knee come. Lower the right knee towards the left, and then lower the left knee towards the left. And there we are, taking a few breaths here. This is how I like to do windshield wipers. Slowly lifting the right knee. When the left knee is forced to move, let it move, and then lower the left knee first. Lower the right knee, take a few breaths here, and then lifting the left, and then the right. Lowering the right, and then the left. Go a few more times to your own breath. If this hurts, you should not do it. If anything hurts, especially in the absence of a teacher, you shouldn't do it. And if I had you in class and you told me it hurt, we would figure out how to modify that for you. But unfortunately, we can't do that right now. So you have to be your own teacher, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Listen to your body. Now, bring this to a close. Bring your knees into your chest. And as you exhale, hug the knees in. And as you inhale, let the knees come out. Exhale, draw the navel in. And inhale, the knees come forward. If you have chronic low back pain, this is such a great thing to do for yourself. If you draw the navel in as you hug the knees in, you'll feel the sacrum flatten into the mat, and then inhale, release. Exhale, drawing the navel towards the spine here, and inhale, release. And one more time like that. And then bring that to a close. Lower one foot and then the other. Straighten one leg and then the other. Let the feet come out to the side, rolling the palms up towards the ceiling. Come back to your breath, that breath that we practiced at the beginning of the class. I breathe in, I breathe out. We're going to do Shavasana for a few minutes. Notice if you feel better. Let the mind follow the breath. I breathe